Hi, this is Becca coming to you from the FemCycle collab with another women-centric ZRL Recon. This week we have two parts of the Recon, so if you're looking for the CD Recon, then go to the middle of this video. We're going to start with a scratch race on London Loop. This is 2 laps of the same circuit. So this TLDR for the ×2 scratch race, which involves only finish points as well as podium finish points. So top 5 riders get extra points. Make sure you collect 6 riders and go check your league standings on WTRL. If there's a team within 3 points of you in this last race, then you have a chance to target them in this race, and so you should be counting jerseys. For instance, I ride for Coalition, so if I look around and I see riders with a team that is competing directly against my team, I will count the number of their jerseys and act accordingly. Protect your climbers on the flats and the descents in this course. So while there is a major hill in the middle of this course, there's also a lot of flat and down where your climbers will have a hard time staying with a pack, so make sure you're protecting them. Also, don't fudge your power-up usage. You're going to get assigned power-ups, one at the lap banner right at the beginning of the course, where you get a feather, and then an anvil at the top of the KOM. The anvil is not much help anywhere but on the downhill, and the feather really doesn't help much on the anything but an uphill. So watch your positioning throughout the race. Be checking with your team where they are, and remember to count those jerseys. I recommend an aero bike with disc wheels for this course. So we're going to head over and look at the course notes. Okay, right out of the gate, you're going to receive a feather power-up. That feather power-up is going to be of most use on Box Hill. So if you can save it, definitely do. There's a draggy climb around 3.6 kilometers. It's pretty draftable, but if you're trying to shake riders, then push hard as a team and see if you can get anyone to use their feather so that they don't have it for the climb. You're going to go through the escalator down at 5.8 kilometers. That is where you'll want to talk with your squad about how you're going to attack the hill. It's not a segment, but it is a long climb. So it's 4.3% for 3 kilometers. This will be under 6 for the fastest riders and 8 to 9 for mortals. So longer steep sections are around 7.2, where the grade average is 7.5%. That is a great place to use your feather, for instance, if you can wait until that point. However, use it where you need it on that hill. So try to stay attached to a group. There's you're going to pick up an anvil at the banner at the top of Box Hill. There is a kicker after the banner that I feel like is the critical point on the hill. It averages 8.5% for 80 meters, so super short, but it's followed by a descent. So you really need to be with the group going over that hill right at 10.6 kilometers. On the descent, you should definitely be counting jerseys, and you should be changing your approach based on how many riders you have in that front group. And where your other riders are. So if you have any chasers, then you don't want to push the pace at all on the descent, and use your anvil where you can. The next spot to talk about is the escalator up back into the city around 13.8 kilometers. You need to watch your gearage to make sure you don't get left behind on that climb, and you need to be able to get up to speed quickly afterwards. There is a tiny descent at 15.3 kilometers where on the second lap coming into the finish, riders might want to try to use their anvil. It is super short, so I'm not sure if it's worth it, but the finish is uphill. So it's a tiny descent followed by an uphill to the banner. So good luck to everybody. And take a look at Anya's great video that follows this. And if you're looking for the CD Recon, then just fast forward through the video to the next spot. Good luck, everyone. Have fun. Hi, this is Becca back with the CD portion of the Recon. We are in season 18, week 6. This is a scratch race on the Greatest London Loop. So you can see by the Velo Viewer that this course is dominated by Leith Hill and the lead in to Leith Hill. However, there is a lot of flat to get there. So my TLDR for this scratch race is get 6 riders. Get 6 riders. And check your standings. So if you're within a couple points of another team going into this last week, then you should be focused on them. You should be counting their jerseys. How many of that team is in your group? How many are there ahead of you? How many are behind? That'll make a difference in your standing at the end of the race. So protect your climbers on the flats and the descents. So while they might not have a problem in the 5 kilometers of climbing, they need to get there with the group in order to have the best chance to do something for your team. Additionally, don't fudge your power-up usage. You're going to get assigned power-ups right out of the gate. You're going to get a feather, and then you're going to get an anvil at the top of the climb. So you really want to use that feather on a climb, and you really want to use the anvil on the descent. So don't press it out of panic. Wait for the right spot. So here we are looking at the course notes. You can see you get a feather right out of the gate. There's a draggy climb right around 3.6 kilometers. That is really draftable, but as a group, if you are very strong, maybe you could make a push there and try to get other riders to use their feather power up so they don't have it for that long climb. Following that draggy climb, you really have a lot of time to collect. You have the escalator down at 12.1 kilometers. So until that point, make sure that you are protecting riders that might struggle until the climb. When you go down the escalator, be talking with your team about that climb. So the climb really starts around 13.9 kilometers. It averages around 5%, and it's steepest at the beginning. So there's a portion of 8.1% for 110 meters. And then it's very steep at the top, so 11.2% for 110 meters. So great places to use that feather. You will pick up an anvil at the banner. So as you descend the backside of Leith Hill, there are 2 portions to the descent with a kicker in the middle. So you really need to be aware of your positioning and be counting your jerseys. Talk to your team. If you have a chaser off the back of your group, you should not be pushing the pace on the descent. You should be waiting for that chaser, unless it's bringing back another rider that you are competing against. And if you have all 6 of your riders in the front group, then you should be pushing the descent. So really adjust your strategy based on where your entire team is. So you have the escalator up at 24.6 kilometers. And just watch your gearage on that escalator. It's always one of those that you want to come into the escalator with a lot of RPM so that you can slow down a little bit, but then get up to speed very quickly after you hit the top. There's a pinch point at 25.5 where your momentum is going to get cut. So watch your positioning if you're in a group, or just be aware of it if you are not with a group. There's a tiny descent right before the finish where I think some riders might try to use their anvil. It is very short, so I don't think it's very efficient to use your anvil at that spot. I think you'll be wasting the majority of it, but if you're in a group, it might be worthwhile. So good luck to everybody. This is the last race, so really celebrate your team and have fun, and see you next season.